Hi everybody, and welcome back to the One New Thing project. I am so happy to be doing this. I get so excited every year about doing this year in review and really starting to look forward to what's coming in the next year, really being able to sort of take stock of what we've done and celebrate it and tie that into what we want to do in the coming year, right? And oftentimes when we start to look back at what we've done in the past, we tend to focus on the to-do lists, the things that didn't get done, or the big projects that we really wanted to get done but didn't. And this year, I want to sort of take a bit of a different approach, right? So this year, we're going to take a look at, yes, those things that maybe we didn't get accomplished, but we're going to take the lessons from them and tie them into next year and the coming years and see what we want to do going forward so that we keep moving forward, and how to actually take action on those goals so that our goals and our vision don't just become something that we hang on a wall or something that sits on a shelf, something that is actually something that moves and breathes and is part of us every single day. So that's what we're going to do today. Ready? If you haven't gotten it already, please go ahead and get a couple of sheets of paper and something to write with. So if you haven't done that already, please press pause and then join us back here. Okay, are you ready? We're gonna start with our year in review. Now, I'm gonna go through these questions fairly quickly, and I have a reason for that I'll share with you at the end. So bear with me. Are you ready? Here we go. What are the 3 best things that happened to you in this last year? How about your 3 biggest memories? What are the 3 things that come to mind when you think of this past year? What about your 3 biggest challenges in the last year? When I ask you about 3 goals that you hit in this last year, what comes to mind? When I ask you about 3 goals that you missed in this last year, what comes to mind? Now, what is the greatest lesson that you learned from your biggest challenge and the 3 goals that you missed? Don't overthink it, just write it down. What are the 3 main reasons that you missed the goals this past year? Cumulatively, what were the themes? What were the 3 main reasons, the 3 themes for why you hit your goals? Those 3 big goals this past year. Now, Who were the 3 most influential people in your life in this past year? Write their names down. And if you had to give a word for this last year, what would it be? Just one word. Okay. Now that we've wrapped that up, I know I went through that really rapidly, but I had a reason for that. And my reason was that if I give you lots of time to think about it, then we start to get in our own heads, right? And then our conscious mind takes over. And I didn't want that. I really wanted the things that just came first. Your first thoughts are often the right thoughts. So don't overthink it. Don't cross anything out. We're going to go with what you wrote down. Now, on your next piece of paper, I want you to write down today's date. And I want you to write down how old you are and how old the people who are closest to you are. So whether that's a partner, kids, grandkids, close friends, just about 3 people, 4 people, depending on how big your family or group is. It doesn't need to be big. All right, you got that? Now, I want you to write the date down 1 year from today. Write down your age 1 year from today and the age of those people. And then finally, write down the date in 5 years. 5 years. And then write down your age in 5 years. I know. And the age of those people in 5 years. Suddenly, those kids seem pretty old, right? Now, once we've done this, the reason that we're doing this is because there's 2 things that we know for certain. And one is time does not stand still. And we are going to do things with our life over the next year, over the next 5 years. The question is it going to move us closer to the life we want? Or are we going to be treading water? So in a year, are you going to be closer to those goals or not? In 5 years, are you going to be closer to the life you want to lead or not? And that's what this is really about. So consider that, think about that, keep those ages in mind as we move into the next step. On the next piece of paper, I'd like you to write down 7 words for me. They are fitness, finance, family, field, friends, faith, and fun. I'm going to repeat those. Fitness, finance, family, friends, field, faith, and fun. So what does that mean? Well, fitness is our health and our mental health. It's how we take care of ourselves and our mind. Our finances, that's pretty self-explanatory. How we use the resources, the money and other resources that come into our life. Our family, those are the 5 closest family members that we spend the most time with. So that might not be the 5 closest family members by blood, right? So that might be an aunt or a grandmother or a cousin. That it might actually end up being people that you determine as your family. It might end up being found family. That's okay. Now, your field, that is your career. That is the work that you choose to do, whatever that looks like. So whether that's work outside the home, whether that's volunteer work, whether that's working with a church or a charitable organization, or whether that's working inside the home and homeschooling your kids. All of that is your field. Your friends are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I call these people your front row. Your faith is how we connect to anything that's bigger than us. Now, for many people, that means being part of a spiritual community, being a part of a church. Doesn't have to be, though. It could mean being connected with nature. It could mean being connected with a social cause. It could mean being connected with a philanthropic organization. So that is a very personal section. And the last one is fun. It's how you enjoy yourself on a regular basis. So now that we know what those sections are, I want you to take a look at them. And we're going to spend 2 minutes. I'd like you to rate them from 1 to 3, with 1 being today, on today's date, not looking back over the last year, just today as I sit now. 1 is, this really needs a lot of work, or 3, I'm killing it. 2 is, it's kind of in the middle for each one of those. Ready? 2 minutes. Get set. Go. Okay. Are you done? Did you have any surprises with that? All right. Oftentimes, people get a little bit surprised about maybe where they sit with some of those. If you had some surprises, that's okay. If you didn't, that's okay too. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to take those ratings and we're going to start to turn them into goals for next year. Thinking about what you said in your year in review. So, when you think about the year in review, looking back at the goals that you didn't get finished and the goals that you did get finished, what was it about the goals that energized you? The goals that you got done? Why was it you got those done? What did they have in common? And what was it about the ones that didn't? Were you not interested in it? Was it not the right season for them? Did you need some different expertise or a different person to help you with them? So keep those things in mind as we're going forward into creating some of these goals, because what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to write down, looking at where you're going to be in 1 year, that age you're going to be at 1 year, what you'd like your life to look like. One simple sentence. Just blurt it out. Where you want to be working, who you want to be surrounded by, what you want to be doing for fun, what you want your health to look like, what you want your faith walk to look like or your spiritual journey to look like, how you want to be contributing to the community, what you want your finances to look like. Look at all of those things that are reflected on that quick assessment that we just did. And I want you to write in 1 year, where do you want to be that's different than today? I'm only going to give you about 30 seconds for this. Ready, set, go. Five seconds. And done. Okay. Do you have it? Doesn't need to be perfect. We just need a direction. Now, looking at that, I want you to look at the areas that you had the ones in. And we're going to start there. And we're going to create some goals. Now, many of you may have heard about SMART goals before. You might be familiar with them. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timeable. We're going to switch that a little bit. So it's going to be specific, measurable, accountable. Instead of achievable, it's going to be accountable, realistic, and timeable. So what does this look like in reality? Well, many times we set goals that don't get accomplished because they're not really goals. They're things like, I want to lose weight. Well, that's not something that's specific. So how much weight do you want to lose? When do you want to lose it by? How are you going to measure it? Who's going to hold you accountable, right? So a much, much more effective way to write that goal is to say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to measure it by the number of inches on my waistband. I'm going to report it back, or I'm going to text my best friend every week. I'm expecting that I'm going to lose 20 pounds within 6 months because that's realistic and that's also my timeable. To say that you're going to lose 80 pounds in 2 months is not timeable, or is not realistic, right? Now, doing that with losing weight is a fairly easy way to demonstrate that. So let's do this with, I want to be able to create a goal for fun. Oftentimes we realize I need to have more fun in my life, right? So one of the things that maybe we want to do, actually this came up for me last year, was we wanted to go on a family trip to Ireland. So we wanted to go on a family trip to Ireland by July. Now, you can stack your goals in within this. So how do I make this a SMART goal? We are going to go on a 7-day all family trip. So it's specific, it's measurable, 7 days. It's realistic in July. So we started planning this in January. And it's timeable. So we had all of that laid out, right? If you want to say, I want to learn to belly dance, then I want to start taking classes in January and continue taking classes for at least 6 months to determine if I like belly dancing. That's another way that you can do it at this specific studio or at one of these 3 studios. That's another way you can do it. Okay? So what we're going to do for you today is I'd like you to look at where you have ones in your little quick assessment. We're going to start there. I'd like you to write 3 SMART goals for that area. Ready? I'm going to give you 1 minute for this. Ten seconds. Okay, now we're going to move on to our areas with 2s. And again, go ahead and write your goals, write your SMART goals. And we're going to get started now. 3 goals. Alrighty, now it's time to move on to your 3s. Here's the deal. When we feel like we've got 3s, we feel like we're rocking it. It's really hard sometimes to come up with goals, but it's important that we keep pushing and moving forward. Without doing that, there's no growth and we become stagnant. So I'm going to encourage you to look back at your year in review. Look at the goals that you crushed. Look at what went well and why it went well. Why did you crush those goals? Why were you so passionate about it? Think about that. And then look at those things, look at those areas where you really feel like you're rocking it this year or today, and create some goals around those. All right, go ahead. You've got 3. Okay, I know. Went super fast, I know. So here's the deal. If you didn't finish, that's okay. You can come back and you can finish the goals later, but I wanted you to get the process. The next thing that we're gonna do is I want you to look at those, because like 21 goals, man, 21 goals is a lot for a year. It's a lot to focus on. And so we need to shrink that down to what you can truly focus on and get accomplished. A lot of times, the reason we don't get things accomplished or we don't get goals accomplished is because we have too many. So we're gonna hold on to those goals because they're important to us. But we're gonna look at what are the most important. So right now, what I want you to do is I want you to go back to that statement that you wrote about where you wanted to be in 1 year. And I want you to look at the goals that you've written and think about, pull out 7 of those goals. They can be from any area. So I don't care if you've got all 3 from finance and 1 from faith and one from fun. I don't care. You can have one from every single area. Doesn't matter. Whatever fits you. But 7 goals that fit that statement of where you want to be in 1 year. Ready? Just circle them real quick. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Here we go. Okay, cool. All done. Ready? Now, we've got 7 goals. And I want you now to bring it down to 1. If you could only accomplish one thing in the next 12 months, look at that date again, 365 days from today. You're going to be 1 year older. Look at that statement you wrote about what you want your life to look like. If you could only accomplish one thing, that would dramatically change your life by this time next year, what would it be? And I want you to put a big star next to it and underline it. Got it? Okay. That's your 1. That's your focus. You wake up and you look at that every morning. You say it out loud. You say it to the mirror because that's what you focus on. Now, here is the $1 million question. How do we take this cool plan that we've got and actually make it happen so that it doesn't just become yet another thing goes on the shelf? Here's how. It's 3 itty bitty things a day. 3 itty bitty things a day, guys. So here's what you're gonna do. And I'm gonna show you in a minute a pretty cool tool. I'm going to put a link in below of a tool that you can use to do this digitally. It's on an app, it's on your desktop. It's pretty nifty. But you can also completely do it on an index card. What you're going to want to do, take an index card, right? And draw a line straight down the center. And on the left, in fact, I think I've got a picture of it. You're gonna, on the left, there we are. On the left, you're gonna write 3 different steps. That's it. You see? Right there. 3 different steps to go towards one of those 7 goals or that big one, period. That's it. 3 steps, that's it. Now, I'm not unrealistic, guys. I know the kids got to get picked up from school. I know that there's emails that need to get sent out. I know websites got to get updated. I know that there's tons of stuff that has to be done. Errands, all kinds of stuff. Gets in the way. A lot of times that's why goals don't get done, because it feels like life gets in the way. Groceries, laundry, oh my gosh, right? But that all goes over here on the right. Now, the trick is you always do your stuff on the left, your goal action steps first. Always, always, always. These come next. I promise you the kids are still gonna get picked up from school. I promise you the laundry will get done. And I promise you the groceries will get picked up. But these will get done too. And that's how you get your goals done. Now, if you want to do this in a digital framework, I've partnered with a company called OOLA, and OOLA offers this incredible lifestyle framework that has an app. It also has a desktop or tablet version, and it does a couple of things. First of all, it'll give you a full assessment of the 7 key areas. So you're gonna get a much broader indicator of where you are in each of those 7 areas. And you'll be able to write out those goals much more clearly. You'll be able to tie your action steps directly into those, and it tracks how many action steps you take, how many goals you accomplish, and keeps your streaks and all kinds of cool stuff. Even cooler than that though, it also has some content that is created for you specifically based on your assessment. So for example, if your family area is lowest, it'll give you some information on how to work with that area. If your fun area is lowest, it'll give you some information on how to work with that area. So it's really a pretty cool product. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm happy to share that information. I will put it below with a free trial link that at the very least will allow you to take the assessment. So that'll be in the show notes below. So this ends our year in review and our goal setting for the upcoming year. I really, really, really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that it was helpful for you. And please contact me if I can help with anything else. I am always welcoming new clients, and so I'd love to chat with any of you. Until then, this is Anne from the One New Thing Project.